Hey, you caught me trying to work on an animation for a new intro. Yeah, I've been working on this for a while, trying to get things to look smooth. And I've got, more time spent on this in order to make it look nicer. So I probably should make a review because all of my schedules are a little behind. So what should I do? Should probably do a movie review. Let's see what movies are out now. Well, this is an old movie, but I guess I'll see that if it comes out in theaters. Oh yeah, the Godzilla versus Kong. I only saw one movie in that franchise, so it's gonna be hard to watch. But you know what? Nothing else looks good. I don't even know what Monkey Man even is. Well, I don't want to start with Godzilla 2014. That movie was boring, for what I remember. Maybe it's better, but I just want to watch four movies instead of watching five, especially one that I might fall asleep during. Plus, when I reviewed the first Godzilla movie, it didn't really get that many views, which is a shame. It stopped me from reviewing all the movies, but still, I want to watch these new movies so I can see the new movie. I heard Kong Skull Island wasn't bad, even though the reviews are kind of mixed. It looks like I already watched it recently, so it looks like I already planned this out ahead, didn't I? Yeah, we're going to be starting with this film because, well, I didn't want to watch Godzilla 2014 again. It wasn't that interesting. Plus, I already got a synopsis by watching videos on Godzilla, so I don't really need a whole lot of information on 2014. So let's just jump into the 2017 movie, Kong Skull Island. You see, back in 1962, King Kong, who looks derpy as hell in this movie, decided to float into Mount Fuji on some balloons to Godzilla, the king of the monsters. This was a big deal. This only happened one time. See, Toho, the creators of Godzilla, had the rights to King Kong, and they wanted him to fight Frankenstein for some reason. But they're like, actually, you know what? We better our Godzilla character. We haven't used him in a while. So that's what they did. Both characters first appeared in color, and both characters are now fighting each other. Of course, internationally, people viewed this as East versus West, since King Kong's from America and Godzilla's from Japan. So it's like a battle of the two countries, I guess. Though Japan didn't really view it that way because they think King Kong's a better character than Godzilla. And not better in the way that King Kong's like a more heroic character, while Godzilla has been a villain at this point in time. But anyway, people have been talking about wanting to remake this movie for years. I mean, does this look that great? I mean, maybe it is because it's pretty awesome, but hey, they wanted to remake it, and Universal decided to do it, especially when they got their rights to Godzilla. I don't know why I said Universal. I meant to say Warner Brothers, everyone's favorite company nowadays. And this idea was called MonsterVerse, which I guess became a universe since there's tons of Godzilla, Toho inspired monsters for them to fight, I guess. And well, King Kong just pretty much is King Kong. Doesn't really have that many unique characters, but he's iconic. So yeah, the whole idea was they were gonna fight each other, but it took a while to do. But before we get to them fighting and then teaming up to save the world, I guess, I don't know what the new movie's about. It looks ridiculous, but in the best way possible. So let's watch Kong Skull Island. For me again. And for you, maybe the first time. Or probably not, who knows. I don't know what you've watched in the past. Let's talk about King Kong for a bit. One of these days, I might review his original movie since I need to watch it. I think I saw it a long time ago, but I need to rewatch it anyway. His original film, we already know it. They found, they go to this island, film something. They find King Kong. They take him back to New York. He escapes. I think he's in love with a girl. He climbs the Empire State Building, and then he gets shot down. And that's been most of his character for the entire time of his existence. There he did it in the 70s and the 2000s, and both times it was just the same thing. The only time it was really any different was in the 1960s when he fought Godzilla. And I guess the filmmakers decided, like, let's do something more unique. Let's not just have the same New York thing ever. What if we stay on this interesting island the whole time and examine all the weird animals that exist there in connection with our new Godzilla mythology we're putting in there as well? So that's what they thought decided to do, and let's see if that it was executed any well. And I gotta say, I like what Kong Skull Island does. It sets up a little bit, and then it gets straight into the action. The Skull Island is an interesting setting to visit because of its weird and unique animals and landscape and lore around it. And we've got a bunch of interesting characters, and it helps that it's actually a period piece, which I'm actually a big fan of when movies do that. It takes place in the early 70s, right after the Vietnam War. These characters are exploring the island and trying to discover its mysteries, while every other character has their unique motivations. Even if it's small, some are bigger than others, and it's actually done incredibly well. So the plot is Sully for Monsters Inc. wants to explore Monsters Island because in the past he was attacked by a monster, but no one believes him, so he wants to prove it by taking a crewman there. And he uses the Cold War scare in order to get them to go there because he's like, the Russians might get there first, and you don't want that, do you? If they find something, it's like, all right, we'll fund it, and they even send a military team. This takes place right after the Vietnam War, and Samuel L. Jackson, did I say that right? he has a Vietnam squad that they're supposed to be going home, but he's kind of bitter after losing the war. After all, he's one of those military guys who wants to see America win and can't afford going back home or something like that, you know. And he's like, okay, let's go out, all you guys. None of you guys want to go home, but you're going to this island that we never heard about. Oh, and they also hire a Loki to be a tracker. Yeah, that's Loki. Oh, and this photographer is coming along because why not? They need someone to take pictures of this island. Anyway, they get to Skull Island after peering through all the clouds, and they're all like, wow, this is amazing. I love this place. Now let's bomb it. Well, you see, they're doing those types of bombs to showcase, the locations and stuff like that. But, that's not a good place to do in this area because you'll find out soon that that angers the local residents. And one of those residents is the protector known as Kong. They don't call him King Kong, they say Kong is king. I don't know why. Is there a problem without using the name King Kong? Anyway, Kong is pissed off since he kind of protects these islands and he doesn't like these military guys shooting at him, so he kills most of them. A few guys survive, actually quite a few, actually like 15 people, but they explore this very harsh jungle environment with a bunch of weird monsters on every corner. Very unique monsters. Unlike the original movies where they use T-Rexes, they use kind of different types of monsters. Like these would evolve after time. That's kind of the idea of some of this stuff. Some people aren't a big fan of Kong because he kills some people, but when they learned some of the lore reasons, he was just trying to protect the island from them exploding him. After they found a World War II survivor who's stuck here, who's Wreck-It Ralph, in case you're wondering, and he's been stuck here for 40 years, and Kong's protecting everybody, but he's only a baby. Well, maybe not a baby, but he's the last of his kind. So the T-Rexes of this movie are known as Skull Crushers. They're kind of weird-looking monsters. I guess they can spit acid, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're spitting up their mucus. Eventually, all the characters have a standoff because they have disagreements. Some people don't want Kong to die, but Samuel L. Jackson here, he's like, I'm going to kill this motherfucker because, he killed some people for him. It's kind of like a never-ending war for him, as if you couldn't understand this character motivation. I recommend watching this movie, so that me explaining the character motivations. So King Kong beats up one of the Skull Crushers, and yeah, he's the King Apex Predator. And yeah, he says that he is really strong, and he protects, because that's what big monks do. Monk, is that what I say? How you say it, monk? Anyway, he's small, actually, according to the movie. He's going to grow. That's just a saying. So, like, yeah, this guy's a shower, not a grower. And he's going to fight Godzilla. He's going to beat up Lizard. And now only a minuscule fraction of the group is left. And they're like, well, let's get out of here. This was a disaster. That sucked my ass. So let's talk about some of the film elements that I haven't talked about. I talked about the story, and I actually like the story. It's mostly filing all these characters, which ones are going to die, which ones are going to live. But yeah, you're going to get some spoilers from here on out for some of those. So I recommend watching this if that sounds interesting to you. I think the cinematography and editing, and partially the directing, I always confuse. Like, does director really involve that, or just the editors or whoever, cinematographers who do most of that work? The director takes all the work, but who the heck knows? Anyway, I think that's pretty good. And some effects are a little mixed though. Sometimes I see effects that look really good, and other times I see ones that look kind of goofy. Like these deer do not look good at all. That looks fake. Another problem I have is the death scenes are really comedic for some reason. This film has some comedy. It's not an overt comedy. It has more subtle ones. It's not like Marvel humor, if that's what you're wondering. Though I would say for the most part, especially compared to some other Hollywood films, especially since this came out in 2017 and I've seen worse effects in later Disney projects, I would say for the most part it holds up. There's just sometimes you'll notice like, yeah, this CGI does not look as good as other shots. But certain death scenes or important characters will die, and they'll have incredibly comedic deaths for some reason. I mean, take a look at how Sully dies in this movie.
Oh, shit. Die, you motherfucker.
I mean, maybe that death scene is kind of cool, but yeah, this is kind of the main villain's death, and he kind of just gets swatted by a hand. Like, geez Louise, that dude's just dead. He's like, die, you motherfucker, and he dies. Poor Frozone. And then there's this scene where this guy gets meekly tossed over, but it was treated like it's a sad death because he was going to sacrifice himself by getting eaten by blowing it up, but that didn't really happen. But it was not really sad because it was kind of weird. Like, oh yeah, I was going to tail swing this bit instead. Oh, I mean, it's kind of funny how he dies, and I guess the lighting effect is kind of cool. But he's like, oh shit, that was like one of the main characters who just died in kind of comedic fashion. But that's not the only character that dies. Like, but besides that, I don't really have much complaints. Now, some people are like, oh, it's too much going on. I prefer the boringness of Godzilla 2014. Did you guys really like that movie? It was okay at best. It had some good monster fight, but the characters were bland and boring. Like, geez Louise, this movie has a lot more going on in that movie. And yeah, I prefer this movie a lot more. In fact, I thought it was quite good. I was actually quite shocked. Even the Skull Crusher guys have a pretty cool design for original creation. The fact their faces kind of even look like skulls are pretty cool. And Kong's a pretty entertaining character, even is if he's not in this movie that much. But then again, the movie's called Skull Island, and you spend a lot of time in Skull Island. You get what you paid for here. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to see who's going to survive and who doesn't. Oh, and since this is a cinematic universe film, we had to have a post-credit scene where, like, look, there's a new Godzilla movie coming out. Or I guess connecting this to the Godzilla franchise, because some people might not know that was actually connected. So this at least tells you that yeah, Godzilla and King Kong are gonna fight. Other than that, I don't have really anything else to say about it. I will say that some characters aren't as developed as others, but that's kind of because there's so many characters, and at least some of them get to shine more. Maybe some of them should get more development, or shouldn't, and some might have died where you might not expect them to die. But overall, you get quite a lot, and the characters that are most important, you get to see the most of, even before some of them die. So that's overall my opinion on this. And that's my review of Kong Skull Island from 2017. At this point, I probably have already seen, by this time's up, the new movie, but who knows? I'm planning on watching the other two movies I gotta see before going to see the new movie. And I don't know if I want to do that right before that, because the movie might get old and stale. People might watch it. Who the heck knows? Hopefully, you will watch it. Overall, Kong Skull Island, it was a skull of a time. I think I said all I wanted to say about this movie. I actually like this poster quite a bit, the helicopter and his Kong's face. But yeah, I recommend watching this movie. You might not enjoy it, it might be your cup of tea, but if any of that sound like it'll be your thing, I definitely recommend watching it. It's one of those movies, though, it's better to not know what's going to happen, but hey, you might forget everything that happened in this review. Like, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to watch it. Just try to erase everything I said, and then you'll enjoy your time watching it. As a wise kid once said, you'll enjoy it in the end.
You'll enjoy them in the end.
That's it. You'll enjoy it in the end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I have a Patreon. I just have it just because. Give it a like, and you can comment down below. You can even comment that you suck, and I will enjoy it. Yeah, I'm done here. You can leave now.